Hey, welcome back to Salty Roots. Thanks for checking out another video. It's been a little bit since I've put a video out, and that's mainly because of the move to this new home and work and now the holidays and just all kinds of stuff. So this video will be more of like a vlog style, just an update on what's been going on these last few weeks. For those of you that haven't seen any of my previous videos, we in June moved from Indianapolis down to the Jacksonville area, just south of Jacksonville, and rented there for a little bit while we looked for homes to purchase, and ultimately decided to purchase this home here in St. Augustine. As you can see, a pool home with some land, which is not an easy feat, not an easy property to find, but we're really excited about it. And then when we were renting up in Jacksonville, I actually purchased a ProStar 90 tank and then moved it down here. So this video again will mainly be moving that tank from that rental down here and just setting up some of the other general fish stuff here at this house. So thanks again for checking out the video, and let's jump in. Back in the U-Haul, just left Home Depot. I went to pick up some of those black Rubbermaid totes with the yellow lids. I was gonna, drain the tank down into those and then put it on one of the four-wheel dollies and wheel it out. That's what most people seem to do online when I was watching how to move your tank videos. So I went in to get those, but while I was in there, I went and checked out the Brute trash cans, the big, 44-gallon heavy-duty Brute trash cans. I've actually always wanted a couple of those. I wanted to use those as my containers for my mixing station. I've just never bought them because they were so expensive. So I have the 32-gallon Rubbermaids right now. They're just a little bit, less volume, of course, and then thinner plastic. So I went to look at those. Pretty expensive still, but I went ahead and pulled the trigger just because, again, they're going to work really well for this, and then I can also use them down the road for my mixing station. I've mentioned this in my other videos before. A lot of the tanks will have these sticking out, and then when I go to move this, it's not flat, right? Because it has this sticking out, so you have to account for that when you're setting it down. With the ProStars, it's really nice. You can actually detach this, and then this bulkhead is hidden beneath this thick bracing here. So then you can still set the tank flat, which is nice for moving. So this is the location of the tank in the new house. It's in my office here. As you can see, I get natural light from this window, but don't have to have the tank right up against the window, minimizing some of that algae that I was experiencing in that rental. There's quite a bit of red cyano all over my rocks, and so I'm going to do the ChemiClean treatment and hopefully knock that out quickly because it's pretty bad. So this is just over 24 hours after the first dosage of the ChemiClean treatment. I added a little bit less than was recommended, which is usually the suggestion with chemicals to, go on the lighter side and then add more if needed. So it does look like I'm going to potentially need to do a second round. However, they do say give it at least 48 hours, so maybe give it another day, but this rock up here is pretty bad still. You can see the bubbles, probably got a little bit of mix of dino in there as well. But just need to at least get red slime going. All right, so 48 hours after the initial ChemiClean treatment, we're looking really good here. After the first 24 hours, helped it along a little bit where it was real thick and matted. I scrubbed it off a little bit, as you saw earlier. And then I did a small second dose. And then as of this morning, I don't see any of the cyano at all, which is of course the goal. So that's great. What I need to do now is a pretty big water change, a 25% water change. And then after the water change, your skimmer is supposed to calm down a little bit. It's overflowing constantly once you add the ChemiClean. What I found with my personal skimmer, which happens to be a Bubble Magus, is really the only thing that helps it calm down is to raise it up in the water. And then after like 3 or 4 days, that's of course after you raise it up in the water, you get a water change, and then after like 3 or 4 days, you can lower it back down, and the skimmer does typically stop overflowing at that point. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I've used ChemiClean a few times. I've never really had any issues with it whatsoever, and so it tends to work and knocks the problem out quickly. All right, so I got the water station up and running, and I noticed since I've been making water here, this filter is getting pretty brown. We do know that we have some of the worst water in the country here in this new location in St. Augustine. So we went ahead and got a rain-soft system. It's a really nice, high-quality water treatment system. It does quite a bit more than just a traditional water softener. It's a full treatment system. So we got this installed to help with the general water, in the house. And then off the rain-soft system, we have a place to plug in a hose. However, this comes off the main water line before it gets to the system. And so this is untreated water then going to my system over here, which of course, it then goes through my RODI unit. I'm just afraid it's gonna burn through the filters so fast, being bad water quality. We can check the TDS meter here. So it's coming in at about 10. I would have guessed more. It's not too bad, but nevertheless, I do think, like I said, we're gonna just burn through these filters. So my plan is to go ahead and hook this up over here on this faucet, because that faucet is downline or off the water treatment system. And so water will be treated once there, and then also through my RODI unit, producing really high quality water, but hopefully kind of the buffer of the first water treatment system will ease up on some of my filter usage here. So here's what my sediment filter looked like. Here's what it should look like. Notice this big spot. So apparently my food grade safe or RV hose has a hole, was likely damaged in the move and is leaking. So I'll have to get a new one of those. So on this style hose, a lot of the times more rigid ones, you get this kink. Just made it really hard to work with, and of course, oftentimes kink it, right? And the water flow wouldn't be great. This one, it's got this more flexible feature, extra flexible. So it doesn't want to do that. It doesn't kink on you, which is really nice. This is the tank present day. It's Friday, November 24th, day after Thanksgiving. Just did a water change, so things are pretty opened up and happy. Thought it was a good opportunity to do a quick update on the livestock. So we'll start on the left side here where we have Rainbow Infusion Zoas that are opened up, looking pretty happy. Conversely, the King Midas Zoas on the left there, I'm having some trouble getting those to open up. And then that bubble tip up top has been struggling a little bit from the move, but I do think it's starting to do a little bit better here the last couple of days. Over here I have a stylo. I believe it's a purple stylo, could be a Poecilophora, but I'm pretty sure it's a Stylophora. And then I have these bubble tip anemones. Actually used to be one. It split shortly before we moved, and they both are looking pretty happy. The one on the right actually used to be down here at the bottom and just recently walked up to this rock here. But again, they seem pretty happy. And then I have this gold hammer that was 3 heads. Unfortunately, lost a couple of heads in the move there. And then also my Garf bonsai up here after the move started to go downhill pretty quickly. You can see the white on the bottom, but the last couple of days I've actually gotten some color back. I've gained some color back on the Garf bonsai, so I think it's gonna be okay. I have a yellow submarine Favia. I have a Space Invader with a feeder tentacle out right now. I have a Montipora in the back there that you can see right in the middle is a line of super glue. I think that bumped the wall in the trash can when we were moving and broke in half. Glued it back together, and I'm starting to see some white growth on the edges, so I think we're gonna be okay with that guy as well. I have a candy corn Favia, and then lastly some blow pop Zoas on the bottom that look pretty happy. Fish, I have a couple of black onyx clownfish, and they're the only ones in here right now. I do plan on getting a couple more fish, but think I should probably go ahead and get a lid for the tank before I do that, because there'll more than likely be like, I don't know, maybe a wrasse, a blenny, things that will probably jump. So again, we'll want to grab a lid before I do that. Equipment, I am running the same equipment. So I have the 2 XR15 Gen 5 Radions. They're the blue XR15s. And then I have my Apex, of course. I have an Inkbird temperature controller, Bubble Magus, Curve 5, and then the core return pump. I recently did some wire management as well, so cleared out some space here. I'll put my Trident here once I get some reagents. Just ordered the reagent. I'll put my dosing container next to that, and then the dosing pump up on the wall. Once that reagent comes in, I'll get all of that set up in that open space. So that's where we are, current day. Overall, I'm still really happy with this tank with the ProStar 90. That's a little smaller than what I'm used to, and I likely will upgrade down the road and get a bigger tank, but where we are right now with the house still somewhat new and settling in with lots to do, this really is the perfect size for me. And as you can see, there's tons of space on the rock, so I'm really looking forward to filling this up with a lot of coral, hopefully shooting some additional videos as I do so. Now that the tank is back up and running, things are pretty much as they will be for the foreseeable future. I should be able to shoot some more videos, get some editing done, and provide some additional updates. But like I said, right now things are going really well. I'm happy with the tank and looking forward to getting some more content out very soon.